It's on Instagram?
It's on Instagram. Alright guys, it is Q&A time. By the way, if you're not following me on Instagram, go ahead, check me out. It's BREW2L, Brutal, on Instagram. Check me out because I often post Q&As asking questions of, hey, what would you like to hear about? What questions do you have for me? So, today, we just posted a Q&A, what, about 30 minutes ago or so? Already got a lot of questions, guys. So, we're going to go ahead. Aubrey's going to help me out. She's going to read the questions. And I've got my computer over here because I've already seen a couple questions about some software. So I'm going to show you guys what I use, and whatever comes up, comes up. I have no clue what you guys are going to ask. All right, so Aubrey's going to go ahead and get started.
What would be a good spring drop height to keep a Fox able to be daily driven?
Honestly, I like to cut my stock springs. It's cheap. Honestly, it's free. And what I usually do is I think start with a half a coil up front, half a coil in the back. And then you can play with your isolators. You can take your isolators on and off, change the height of the car a little bit. But typically, like I said, about 1.5 inches drop for the street is fine. I've never had any issues with that. Just make sure that your exhaust is not hanging too low. For instance, the exhaust on the red car hangs really low, and 1.5 inches drop on that car puts the exhaust right down on the ground. So you got to be careful of that. But yeah, that's what I like.
Is it possible to run a Fox without a throttle body spacer?
You can delete this section right here, which is your EGR spacer. And you can buy a spacer that is thin, so it's about the thickness, so it's only about that thick right there. All it is a little plate with a bracket here for your throttle cable. So yes, you absolutely can do that. What else we got?
This is more of a statement, but it says, I don't know if you've done this before, but how about a video about what equipment software you use to make your videos?
What I use is I use Photoshop for all of my editing. As you can see right here, that's the logo I just made for Instagram. So I use Photoshop for all of my thumbnails. And there is the last thumbnail that I made right there. So I use Photoshop, and for video editing, I use Final Cut Pro. Obviously, I use a Mac, so you guys that are on Windows, you're not going to be able to use Final Cut Pro, but I do recommend, if you're getting into YouTube, to be completely honest with you, I would go with a Mac. And I'm not an Apple guy, I promise you. But I would go with the Mac simply because Final Cut Pro allows you to edit 4K pretty seamlessly. Like, you try that on a PC, you're going to have a really, really good PC to do that. I also use an iPhone. I use an iPhone for AirDrop. Guys, it's amazing. Do you know how many times I have to come out in the garage and record something because I forgot it? And AirDrop really helps me because I can come out with my phone real quick. I can walk inside, AirDrop it to the computer. So, like I said, if you're getting into YouTube and you're new, try the Mac stuff. If you already have PC, that's fine. Power Director is a good software to start with if you're on PC.
What's your opinion on the cause of a fan clutch whine?
I don't really know on the whine. I don't know if... A lot of times with a fan clutch, we get what we think is a whine, and it's actually the fan hitting the shroud ever so slightly. As far as a fan clutch whine, honestly, I have no clue on that. I've never had that issue. Can't really help you out on that one.
Watch your videos on the 2 inspired me to get a Fox body again. I already have a new Edge. What are you using for the shifter and in the Calypso? My new Fox was a automatic, looking to do something similar. Thanks.
All right, cool. So let's go over this one more time with the Calypso. Essentially what this is a 5-speed bezel right here. So you pick one of these up from LMR and a 5-speed boot. Now underneath, it's just a stock shifter. All we did underneath was take off the plastic selector. So all that stuff that has park, neutral drive, and all that, we just unbolted that, took that out, and you're able to put this on. There is a little piece right here that you kind of have to grind down a little bit, and that is so that this will sit flush. So I got everything from LMR except for the knob. The knob come from UPR. So I'll try to remember to put a link down there. If I forget, just search UPR shift knob.
Thoughts on JB Weld? I recently used it on my car. Hope it holds out until I can get another timing cover ordered.
JB Weld on a timing cover, not really an issue. I think I probably know what happened there. A lot of times on the timing chain covers, people try to pry them off. And when you try to pry that off, that's just a cast or pop metal, and you'll break your timing chain cover. More than likely, that's probably what you're talking about. You probably just put a hole in it. I've actually done that before, and JB Weld worked. It's a get by. Just be careful that it doesn't get down into your oil pan. But just for sealing up a leak like that real quick, absolutely.
Also, any info on running spacers in front of cars with a Lincoln rotor swap. My 03 Cobras don't fit, but I hear that they will with a 1/4 spacer and by flattening the dust cap.
Absolutely. So a lot of times what we run into when we do the budget 5-lug conversion is a lot of these wheels, like for instance these wheels on the Retro Fox, a lot of times the dust cap sticks out so far that it'll push your center cap out. So sometimes you have to run a small spacer in here, so don't worry about that. Absolutely, if you need to run a small spacer, you can do that, and you can flatten out the dust cap a little bit. Obviously don't get carried away with the dust cap and just beat the crap out of it, but you can flatten it out some, so no problems there, guys. It's been done for years and years.
What budget mods should I do to completely stock AOD Fox Body GT?
Okay, so budget mods for completely stock GT with an AOD in it, any of these cars, really is going to be gears. That is going to help you the most in these cars. 373 or 14 gear work really good in these stock AOD cars. That's going to be the best bang for your buck, point blank, period. Exhaust, heads, nothing's probably going to give you seat of the pants feel like that will. So
will the 197 or 550 ever have the following of the Fox platform?
I think the S550 will, just because it was so different. But I don't know, there's just something nostalgic about Fox bodies. You also got to think the 90s, like if you grew up in the 80s or the 90s, we're probably some of the most nostalgic group of people ever. Even more so than the boomers, like my parents or anything like that. Fox bodies have a following that probably will only grow. But then again, anything that's like really hot, a lot of times it burns out. So we'll have to wait and see on that, guys.
Will there be a garage built anytime soon?
A garage built? Next year we're planning on building a shop so that we can get out of the garage. Speaking of which, guys, we are packed in here. That's why my garage always looks like crap. I mean, we have so much stuff going on in here. There's just no room for everything. I have to kind of tuck everything in the corners and all that type stuff. If YouTube keeps doing good, then absolutely. I plan on letting YouTube pay for the garage, truth be known. So we'll see.
What's the best price range to buy a 5.0 engine and a transmission?
I assume that's a stock engine transmission. You can find them around $1,000, somewhere around there. It's all over the place. You can find an engine transmission combo, like a 5-speed, anywhere from around $800 to about $1,500.
Will you do a live feed once in a while?
Live feed. So I get asked that all the time, and I told you guys that we were going to do a live feed, but man, it's tough. Like this stuff has so many jump cuts in it. I have to cut this thing up so much because there's so many ums and uhs and stumbles and everything else. But I'm not going to let that deter me. We are going to do a live feed. I just got to figure out when I'm going to do it and how I'm going to do it. I would like to get all the Fox bodies together, get Andrew, get Zach, get Ray, get a bunch of my other buddies with all these Fox bodies together and do a live feed and just kind of let you ask questions to anybody. So coming soon.
Ever thought of doing a Fox drag car budget?
So a drag car build, like a Fox drag car build, yeah, we talked about it. That was actually what we were going to do with the Calypso clone originally. We were going to do like a budget carbureted type setup on it, but my dream car is a 93 Cobra, so that's the way we went with it. But yeah, at some point we'll probably do that. Maybe with a 4-eyed car we'll do like a carbureted budget type setup, drag setup, and just see what we can do with it.
What's the future of Yellow Wolf?
Future of Yellow Wolf, you know what, guys, I don't know. I'm just gonna hold on to it for now and see what happens. I have talked about, once we're done with the Calypso clone, really putting some money into that, making it hook, making it go. If you guys don't know, I have an 04 Cobra, has a 2.8 Kenny Bell on it, and we don't know what it makes power wise, but the car it's an animal in the road. So I would like to get that car, to where it'll hook in the road a little bit and maybe lower the boost a touch on it, and just get it out and drive and have some fun with it. Just make some content with it.
You still have the Celine kit, don't you? How about we do a coupe? I'll help when I can.
Celine coupe. That's an option, and that's something else that we had talked about doing. It'd be a 4-eyed car if we do the Celine kit. It will be a 4-eyed car, so that's a possibility. That's why I saved the Celine kit, was for that. So maybe.
Have you ever thought about building a big block Fox body?
big block Fox body. My dad, Papa T, has been on me about doing like a 460 swap in one of these cars for the longest time. So I don't know, guys. We'll just have to see on that. I don't have any plans in the near future for that, but who knows?
Who is Andrew to you?
Andrew is nobody to me. That's who Andrew is. Andrew is nothing but a pain in my ass. All he does is come in and eat all my little Debbie cakes and my cereal, and he drinks all of my sweet tea. I really don't know who Andrew is. He just showed up one day, and I had to kind of take him in. So Andrew is my ex-stepson, so we still get along great, and just, I don't know, we've always just gotten along. So he's my ex-stepson. We're obviously still close, and yeah, that's the whole story.
When we gonna do ride together?
Oh, let me tell you guys something. I'm going to show you some pictures. Now, I have been waiting on this for the longest time, but I want to show you a couple pictures of my sister and my brother-in-law's car. Guys, they have got a killer 65 Fastback. I've been wanting to show you guys this, and I want to do like a full video on it because this thing is beautiful. They go to car shows all the time with it. So Lyman Bailey, if you guys aren't following him, go ahead, give him a follow on Instagram. Like I said, that's my brother-in-law. Love their car, and he has always got some build going on. So they're all into these cars. They do the power tour and all this stuff. Check it out if you want to see more pictures of it. Check him out on Instagram, guys.
What order should you mod your Fox body in, from first priority to least?
I'm a firm believer in you need your car to look good first. So that's going to be the attention getter. So I always go, the very first thing that I ever do is lower one. Period. Point blank. There is no questions about it. First mod is lowering the car. Second is going to be wheels, and then window tint, obviously, exhaust, gears, cam, and then performance parts, ever how you want them to go. But that is it for me, guys. That is the secret to success, in my opinion, with a Fox body. If you're starting with a stock one and you want to slightly kind of modify them, lower it first. Nothing else kills the look of a Fox body sitting up this high, no matter if you put wheels on it or not. You got to get that stance right. Now, that's just a matter of opinion. I know a lot of you guys like that OEM look, and there's nothing wrong with it, but if you're looking for something different, then there you go. That's where I would start at.
Did you get my PM sent 5 weeks ago?
Who's calling me out like? So let's address that real quick. Like, Instagram, I can't maintain it, guys. I just can't. I've got too much stuff going on. I know you don't want to hear excuses, and I understand that, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to put it to you straight. I don't have the time or the energy to put into Instagram with all the questions, because it's like this. If I answer your question, more than likely that's not going to be the end of it, right? You know, we're going to have an open dialogue. We're going to want to carry on a conversation. Well, there's 50 other people waiting to carry on conversations too, and I just don't have the time for it. So I'd rather just be straight up with you guys. I just don't have the time or the energy to get into Instagram anymore and do that. I used to love Instagram. I loved it. I would get in there and I would answer these comments, and man, I would do that for hours, but I enjoyed it. Now the channel's really ramped up. We're doing a lot more, so I just don't have the time that I used to. All right, so Aubrey is telling me that is it. That's the end of the show. What about you, Memphis? All right, guys, we got Memphis. She has been chomping at the bit to come out here. You just say anything to him, baby. That's it? You're just going to wave? You don't want to say anything? No? Well, let me ask you a question. I'm going to interview you, okay? What's your favorite Mustang?
The red one.
The red one? You don't like the green one? You don't like the green one?
I just like it too.
You just like it too?
What? I like both.
You like both?
Yeah.
So Memphis likes the red one the best, and honestly, everybody in my family pretty much does too. So let me ask you the question: which car do you like best, the Calypso clone or the Retro Fox? Either way, it's obviously not going to hurt my feelings. I will show you guys the tailpipes, and as you can see, I'm all over the place. The camera's panning around. This is a very unofficial video. Okay, we're just keeping it simple here, and you guys are just hanging out with me today. And the kids, obviously. So these are the tailpipes. I'll show you a little bit of a before and after picture of them. And no, they're not pretty. They're not polished out or anything like that. But the main goal here in cleaning these was to just make it look nice under the car. You know, when you're looking from the back side of the car, a lot of times you can see a little bit of this. So I just want it to be clean. That's the thing. So I had taught you guys about running the Flowmaster tailpipes on the car, and the reason why I didn't is simply because I like the sound. I prefer the sound of the smaller tailpipes because they have more of a pop to them. So anyway, we're going to stay with the stock little small tips. They should really beat coming out of the back of this. Also, what did you guys think about the TFS cam? So instead of going with the Anderson cam, we went with the Trick Flow Stage 1. What did you guys think about that? Hope it wasn't too much of a disappointment to you guys, but that's what we got. Also, I know a couple people were saying that this is too big of a setup, 38-pound injectors on the setup that we have right here with these heads and this cam and everything. And you are absolutely correct. The only reason that we have these injectors, and we may go ahead and run them, is we may throw some boost at this thing quicker than I thought, but we'll see. If not, we got a brand new set of 19-pound injectors that we'll throw back in this. And believe it or not, 19-pound injectors with this setup will not be too bad. I also have a set of 24s. So we got injectors that we can play with if we need to. Give Aubrey a big thumbs up because she always helps me out on these videos. She reads the comments, she makes it a lot easier, and she's always willing to help. It's like I told you guys, get your kids out here if you can, get them involved. Do you like this type stuff?
Yes.
So she likes it, she enjoys the car, she enjoys doing this, and these are memories that we're making, nobody can take away from us. So get your kids involved if you can. Sometimes they just need to go inside though and give you a break. Alright guys, I'm going to break in here. As you can see, I've got a different shirt on. I had to take a shower. After we completed that, I went inside, took a shower, and man, we've got like 10, 15, 20 more questions. So let's go ahead and answer those tonight. I can't stand not doing it. So she's going to read them out, and I'm going to answer them.
If you put boost to the clone, would you change suspension parts such as rear control arms, and what brand?
So we absolutely will upgrade the suspension on the clone, and we'll probably go with like a Maximum Motorsport or like a Granatelli double upper adjustable, and just probably a solid lower, or maybe the Maximum Motorsport lowers that have the adjustable spring perch so that you can set the ride height. But yes, we will be upgrading at some point.
If you were going to build a stroker motor, would you do a 5.0 base or a Windsor?
For stroker, for me, I would just do a 302, but there's no denying the Windsors. The Windsors, really and truly, if you're looking for the most power, the most strength, go that route. Because in my honest opinion, if you're going to be building a badass stroker and you want to really make some power, you're going to need an aftermarket block with a 302 or something like that versus the 351 Windsor. They'll hold a lot of power, guys.
I need a used aftermarket cam less than 560 lift for my GT40 setup. At BREW2L, got everything else. You know anyone?
I don't actually know anybody that has one of those cams, but something like a Stage 2 cam, like a Trick Flow Stage 2 cam will be really good. Even the X cam, if I'm not mistaken, is somewhere like a 542 lift. That's an option. Anderson makes some really good cams, but you can usually get your hands on a Trick Flow Stage 2 camshaft used.
First Fox, what was it like?
My first Fox that I bought with my own money was a 93 GT. I'll try to show you guys a picture of it right here. I've actually had it on the channel a couple times talking about it. Loved that car. A lot of memories with that car. I ended up carbureting the car, did a lot of stuff to it. On that particular car, guys, and I know you're not going to want to believe this, but I have a friend of mine that can back this up. I bought a set of heads from Ronnie's brother, Russell. Put them on the car. They were 52cc, 202 160 valves with a stock E7 head, obviously ported and polished, all that stuff, with an F303 cam, 1.7 roller rockers on stock pistons. Guys, I didn't check piston valve clearance, and it was probably 10 thousandths. I don't know, but I did it, and the car lasted for about 8 months or so before I bent a valve. I think I have the valve sitting over here still to this day. That was back in the late 90s, but loved that car. Like I said, it was a 93 GT, and so many memories.
Mods for an AOD to shift better and not sloppy.
Just a shift improver kit for the AOD is perfectly fine. I probably wouldn't spend a lot of money on like a valve body or anything like that for the street. Just go with a simple, cheap shift kit and you should be okay with the AOD.
I'm not sure if you've done this before. I thought I would ask, what is the best way to change a quarter panel on a hatchback? It recently got damaged and I'm wondering what's the best way to do it.
Just cut it out, honestly. I'm not a body man when it comes to stuff like that. But essentially, you cut it out, and then you lay the other panel up, you mark it out. I'm probably not the guy to ask, honestly, on that. There's a lot of good videos out there, but I've never really seen it done on a Fox body, I will say that. But shouldn't be too hard to do. Hey, A grinder and filler is your best friend. Just remember that.
Do your neighbors ever complain?
Oh, I'll tell you what. I'll ask Aubrey. Do the neighbors ever complain?
Never.
No. So the neighbors really don't complain. My neighbor right over here, in my last video, he actually come over. He loves the stuff. He hangs out with me all the time. No issues there. Neighbors across the street, he loves it. Every time I start one of these cars up, he comes out to look. And no, but I am respectful. So don't misunderstand. I'm not going around spinning tires in the neighborhood and stuff like that. But no, actually it's a very cool neighborhood, and I've not had any complaints so far. I'm sure there's somebody in the neighborhood that don't like me, but so far so good.
Ever thought of selling the yellow Cobra?
Yes, I did think of selling the yellow Cobra. So there again, that's Yellow Wolf. I did think about selling it, but ultimately I think we're just going to keep it. Maybe later on down the line we sell it or do something different with it. But for right now, we're just going to add it to the stable.
What gears do you recommend for stock back one, either 373, 355, or 410?
For a stock 5.0, meaning maybe like a B-cam or something at the most, I personally like a 355. The cars seem to really accept it. 373, I don't know, guys. I really can't explain it. I could sit here and try to rationalize it for you, but honestly, I just personally like the 355s better in a stock car. But you can't go wrong with either one.
When can we see a detailed front disc brake job done? Tips and tricks on replacing pads, rotors, bearings, etc.
At some point we'll get to that and do something detailed when it comes to brakes. Guys, we just have so much footage right now that has to be covered. I mean, we still have all these parts and stuff. So we have so much stuff going on, it's hard to get to the little things. I'm sure at some point when the content kind of goes down a little bit, we'll be looking for stuff like that. And I'll cover it for you guys once we get to it.
I know you're old and all and probably can't row a gear, but when are we going to see one of these garage queens make a pass? Much love, just worried about your rep.
What? Who said that?
Blue Banshee.
Oh. She thinks this shit's funny. At some point, I do hope to get Yellow Wolf to the track at some point. But right now, the clutch is a little weak in it, and we're having some sort of odd sound coming from the transmission. I think it's a throwout bearing, but at some point, we'll get it there.
What's the best thing to do to a Fox body?
That's a very vague question. Best thing to do to a Fox body is keep a Ford motor in it. That's about all I can tell you on that. Just anything you want to do to them, sky's the limit. Have fun with them.
Don't want you quitting, but what's your ultimate goals with the channel? Like, at what point will you say, I've accomplished all I set to do? Time for me to retire from being YouTube famous, LOL.
Okay, I read this earlier, and I'm going to comment quickly on it, but I do think I'm going to do an entire video on this. So, basically the question obviously is when do I pull the plug on this channel? When is enough enough? Here lately, guys, I've been thinking about it. I've been really thinking about at what point do I stop, because I'm not trying to make a career out of it, and I don't want to venture outside of the Fox bodies. That's why my channel stays small. I don't know, to be honest with you. Right now, I'm on cruise control. Right now, I'm day to day. I wake up and I just come out and I shoot a video and I do work, and I just try not to think about it, because when I think about, you know, where are we headed with the channel, to be honest with you, I don't know. I would have thought that we would have been done about a year ago after the red car, and then we got this, which honestly I had no clue we were going to get this car, but we got it and we built it. I just want to be completely honest with you guys and transparent. I can't do another car like this, not to this extent. This car took a lot of my time away from my family. Why don't you guys tell me, where do you see the channel going? Do you think I should pull the plug on it now? How much further should we go with this? I'll go ahead and, like I said, I'll tell you ahead of time, I don't really want to get into many more builds like this. Maybe we buy a car, put some paint on it, do a few things to it, but I can't get into a full build like this again.
Can you do a Cobra brake swap for one of your cars? Thanks.
Guys, I'm not a brake person. I've been ridiculed my whole life for not caring about brakes and good suspension and stuff like that. I'm a simple-minded person. I want my car to look good, I want it to run good, and that's about it. I don't really care about brakes. I just don't. I mean, I could make up something, but I don't really care. At some point, we'll probably do some brake upgrades. I don't know when. I don't see it anywhere in the near future, but at some point we'll probably cover it just because you guys have been asking about it. Oh yeah, and while I was inside, somebody commented about the Anderson cam, said that the Anderson cam would work with these heads. The lift that they said, I think was like a 512 lift, was completely different than what I know. So down below, if you've used it with any head with 202 valves and you've checked the piston and valve clearance, let me know down below. To be honest with you, I think that's pushing it because I don't know the valve angle on these heads. So anyway, let me know down below. I'd be interested in hearing that.
This is the last one. Where's all the Fox T-Bird love? Any idea why cars are so unloved? I see videos on everything else but Fox body T-Birds. Love the channel, man. You guys are killing it. Keep it up.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We got a Cougar back in the day. I don't think we ever had a Thunderbird. I had an 86 Thunderbird at one point, but I'm just, me personally, it's just not my taste. I'm not a Thunderbird guy. I like these smaller cars. I like the Fox body Mustangs. But there is a following, especially for the Super Coupes and Turbo Coupes and stuff like that. So there's a following out there. I'm just, you know, my channel's not really about that. My channel is more centered around Mustangs, obviously, but they are cool cars, and I do think you're going to see a resurgence with these things. Just keep your eyes open. I'm sure there's going to be a channel pop up for the Thunderbirds and for the Cougars and stuff like that. Is that it? All right. Once again, everybody give Aubrey, give her a thumbs up. It's a lot easier to do whenever I have somebody reading the comments. This is going to be a very long video. What?
I forgot one. It was that one that you said HCI, that one.
Okay, all right, she forgot one. So let's get this one real quick, and I promise this will be the last one.
How do you say that again? Head clutch intake?
Let me just read it.
Okay.
Okay, so what brand of clutch would you recommend after a head cam intake install? For heads cam intake, Spec Stage 2, baby. All day long. That's a very, very good clutch. It's underrated, and if you guys have never used it, give it a try. Let me know what you think about it. I know there are better clutches out there, but for the money, you're not going to beat that Spec Stage 2. I had a Spec Stage 3 in my 03 Cobra. It made 622 to the tires. Never had an issue. Never any slip, no chatter, and it was easy. So there you go. That it? All right, guys, that's it. We're going to wrap everything up. Thank you for sitting through this long video because I know this is going to be a very, very long one. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. And as always, thanks for watching.